Alrighty, fantastic. Welcome to the stream, and let's get cracking. All right, so I had worked on this flower. Let's bring up the big reference photo. So those who watched the stream last week saw me finish this off, and it was all right. It was okay. It was on Canson paper, cotton rich, and I learned a few things while I did it. So that was really good. We're always into learning new things. If you're not already, you can become a subscriber and ring that bell, because this does not fill on its own. So here we go. I love coffee. Ring for a refill. So let's get started then on this flower. There's no need to mess around too much. We'll just zoom in a bit. And today, it's pretty simple what I'm going to be doing. It'll be pretty simple because we're just starting with the underpainting, and this is, you can hear it scritching. There's that scritchy sound on Pastel Mat, because it's just a bit more gritty than, you don't hear that sound at all on Canson paper. Anyway, this is this process here is to help me establish some contours. I'm going to change my glasses. I'm thinking about it. Why not? Let's give that a go. Oh, my word. And later on, I'm going to be using, these were all the pencils I used, apart from the one I'm holding in my hand, and a couple of whites. They're the ones I used for doing this painting the first time, so I just want to use the same colours if I can. And as I did last time, my intention this time is to, the petal that I'm working on right this second, that's going to be the hero petal. And I call it the hero because it's the hero of the story, of the flower. And ideally, it's going to stand out the most of the petals. That's the plan. Different switching papers. I'm doing a on Pastel Mat at the moment. I'm doing a much bigger piece for the art trail that I'm going to be in November, and that piece is a sort of, oh, it's twice the size of this anyway, at least, and it's a couple underwater, and it's sitting on my desk, and it's sort of just ticking away at it. I'm gonna find my mojo with it. I was working on it earlier this morning. I thought, oh, I'll take a break from that. Just crack on with this one because I'd like to get this one finished this week if I could. I want to be trying to do a flower a week between now and November. To up my game. The game's been a bit slack. It's just been so cold. Unbelievably cold. So, this morning it was -1 Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. Apologise to my American friends who tune in. But 0 is freezing point here, so whatever your freezing point is in Fahrenheit, that's what it was. And then it went below it just to, finish us off. That's kind of how it felt. And then it was cloudy, and there's, I don't mind a frost if it's, you get a sunny day. This was just yucky. It's been cloudy and cold. So I'm moaning, and I'm moaning because earlier this year, well, last month was earlier this year. Last month, my wife Helen and I went to China. It was 34 degrees in the shade, and it wasn't a burning hot. So in New Zealand, we have a burning hot, like it's microwave heat here in New Zealand. We'll just keep working our way around on this the edges, and so this first cut is just to map in the contours. So what happens with these petals is some sort of fold around, and then they dip in, and then they fold around, and others are what's the word, concave. So there's some that are convex and some that are wrapping in, and so the one I'm doing at the moment, it's got a central part of the petal, this bit that I'm just doing in white now, and that central bit is convex, so it's curving out, and then immediately it dips in. You've got all these peaks and valleys, and which is fascinating for contours. It's a lovely petal to paint, and if you're interested in this particular flower that I'm doing, you can get it for free. The reference photo from pixels.com. Just type flower into the search. It doesn't take long before you scroll through quite a lot of flowers actually, but you'll come to this one. I wonder if I should do it clockwise. Not worry. Just we'll play the game and just keep working our way around. Last time I did this flower. Oh, hi, Cindy. How fabulous to see you, so to speak. So to speak. At least you see me. And according to YouTube, you're listed as #1 fan. Isn't that nice? It's really hot here. You could use some extra coffee. I could use some extra coffee, except I've already had my quota for the day. So if I had one more coffee, Well, I'd probably do the painting a lot faster, come to think of it. So, um, anyway, the reason I'm just doing this sort of, we're just sticking to whites at the moment, purely um, because it's part of the process, and you, I've learned that it's easier. Sorry for all the ums. Thinking, talking, and painting at the same time sometimes is complicated for me. I find it easier to just use the one color. I used to I'd be picking up one color and then I'd be straight in with another. And these days it's like, you've got one in your hand, find all the different places that are going to use it and do that. Because otherwise what can happen is, so I'll paint for an hour today and that, that's fine. But if I did a leaf or a petal, I did the whole thing, and then you go away, and sometimes you don't come back to your painting for a couple of days, and then you've forgotten what colours you used to build it up. I've done that with skin before, and worked on this beautiful young ballerina. She's just gorgeous. And then I worked on her arm, and then had a break. And when I came back to it, it was time to do a hand, and I was like, I can't remember how I did a skin. That's really, it was, oops. Just brush that off. It was a real trial. First world problems, of course, but it was still a problem. I've got my wife reading a book at the moment that I really enjoyed called Paris is Burning. And I've mentioned it on the channel before. If you see it in your local library, I highly recommend it. Paris is Burning. Don't know who the author is, but that's the title, and it's all about the Impressionists during a time when first Paris was invaded by the Prussians, and then they had a civil war. It was just totally awful time in Paris. Terrible things happened. People were so cruel. And, to fellow Parisians, it was just bizarre. Anyway, so a lot of the Impressionists had left town, but Edouard Manet and Edgar, now, Degas, I think that's how you pronounce his name. Fantastic pastelist. Sort of the father of pastels, really. Or at least he's heavily influenced me. Anyway, he was still there in the city. And this young female artist, Berthe Morisot, who does the most fantastic. She was actually the unrecognised force of Impressionism. And if you get anything out of this stream, it's please go to Wikipedia and type in Berthe, Berthe, Berthe Morisot, Morisot, and have a look at her paintings. They're just fantastic. Beautiful works. Anyway, I got my wife to read the book because it's actually a love story, and she fell in love with Edward. She got had a crush on him. It was more than a crush, she loved him. But he was married, so nothing was going to come of that. This is going to go this way. Although a lot of those artists, what lives, they were rock stars of their time. And I read about, in the book it talks about, what's his name? Victor Hugo. Victor Hugo. He was a rock star. And he had all these groupies lining up at his door. And he'd let them in. These artists. My word. Anyway, the love story was between Berthe and Edward Manet, who came to love her in the end, that was really nice because he kind of ignored her for quite some time, and then he falls in love with her. And of course, he's married, so nothing comes of that. But he got her to. He introduced his brother, which she would have known him, but recommended they got married. Hope I'm not doing spoilers here. But you'll find that on the Wikipedia page anyway, that who she married. This is quite big here. How's it looking? It's looking like a watermelon. That's what it's looking like, so that's fantastic. That's what we want. Watermelon. Feet. You probably can't tell which ones are concave and which aren't. I will end up putting more white down as I. So let's see. This is the color I used last time. I'll just put a little bit on. I can see what it looks like. Yeah. So when you run it over the white, you get a much different tone than if you just put it straight on the paper. I'm only doing a little bit there. Just to, so I always so in here I can afford to go much stronger on the underpainting. Bring in this top, just float it over the top. Here we go. And the as I build it up, we'll have. I prefer the white anyway to be underneath rather than have to come and put a white on top. So the white's going to be, and that's how I do skin. Well, that's how I do it now. So I found the petals are so much like doing skin. The way you build them up. So if you're used to doing skin, then you're not going to have any problems doing petals. Go all the way. Come on. I've had a lot of trouble with my sharpener lately. It's been playing up on me. And these conte Paris, they're really thick. chunky pastel pencils, really hard pastel. A bit higher. Don't want it that way. Do want it to swing in. A bit more like that. So finding a pencil sharpener for it is hassle. I've tried makeup, like eyeliner. Someone once suggested using eyeliner sharpeners for pastel pencils. And they're all right. You won't get a sharp point from them though. But if you've got a pastel that is really crumbly, which sometimes they are. Oh, Cindy, this is fabulous. Sorry, I missed your comments, Cindy, and you've gone. I could watch you paint for hours. I snuck away for a bit. We'll watch again after they finally leave. Oh, I must have family. Oh, your brother. Oh, fantastic. Well, I'm so glad you popped by, Cindy. It was lovely to have your company, if but for a moment. It's nice. I hope you're doing well. She's recorded forever as being the #1 fan. I actually have a #1 fan who supports the channel fantastically. Times when I've felt like not so much giving up, but just a bit deflated. It's been very special to get a buy me a coffee from them. Not that I expect it on a regular basis, or at all actually. But the buy me a coffee is a beautiful way to cheer someone on. Comments are great too. Especially these days because the YouTube algorithm, I mean, I'm in a niche spot. I'm okay with that. There's only so many people who like pastels. And there's only so much time they have to watch pastels being painted. I suspect it will always be a small channel. So I get caught up in talking about the business of making art because I've noticed the artists who do the best on YouTube actually just talk about making money rather than doing any painting. I don't want to get too carried away. We want the watermelon effect, and then when I come in and I get some of this color floated on top, what's going to happen is then I will be able to adjust the values, and I will end up putting more white down. The whole bit will get covered in white, but for now I've just got to map it out. And so seeing as I'm streaming from my studio, this is this is what I do for a job. Then you're seeing paint dry paint. Now this is the same process that I use for the previous flower, which was the same You know, it was just on that other paper that I did it on. And I had to build up all my colors exactly the same way. So, and I want to do that to go well. Um, what can I use? The Canson paper. It's a nice paper, and it's so much cheaper than pastel matte. And artists can be a bit cheap, you know, because if you're not like when you go to work, you expect, you know, end of the week or fortnight or once a month, however it works out, you're going to get paid, right? That's how it works. You turn up, you do whatever you're asked to do, and you get paid. But when you're an artist, you you get up, you do your job. Unless you're on commission, you know you've got a contract to do a particular portrait. Mm. Type of painting for someone, then you're doing this in the hope that you're going to get future work or a future payout for having done all this work. And potentially that can happen. So you could be doing. It's gone off a little bit because I'm standing on the wrong way. I need to bring that back. That's okay. Let's just get the line. Yeah. I knew of artists who made his living from 4 paintings he'd done. They were actually drawings, 4 drawings, architectural drawings. So just buildings he'd seen on the street. He painted them, well, he drew them, pencil, and he just sold those prints. And he was making about $2,000 a month, US, from selling his prints. So for some, you know, it can be quite. I don't want to say that you're not going to make any money in art, but you do tend to do it um, without knowing that you're going to make anything. So, you know, someone's already asked for this particular flower that I'm doing, that I'm working on, wanted to buy the previous one for their mother. So it's nice. It's lovely. I've been quite surprised at how many people like flowers, men and women. More women, but it's mainly those who comment on my posts would probably be 70 on my social media. Would probably be 70% would be female. Don't like down here very much at all. Come back with a light, very light violet down there. So that, you know, the ones that are underneath, they've got to be shadowy, and it's only the ones on top that we've got the strong light on. Probably come around with a blue or a red. I'm not too sure. It might even be both of them. And do some edges around the petals because otherwise I just get a bit lost. I'm not quite ready to have everything just blend in. I don't want it. I don't want mush. I found one thing from having done this before. I got to say, the difference between the Canson and the most immediate thing that I noticed between the Canson paper and the pastel mat is the Canson is a real blendy paper. Beautiful for blending. If that's your buzz, really soft. Merging of colours. And in my sort of art, I'm less blending than I used to. I used to really go hard out, and I'd have cotton buds. Let's grab one and show you. So I had these types of things. I suppose, what are they? Makeup remover, or I'm not sure. Some people use them for cleaning their ears. So I used to push the pastel into the paper really hard. And then once I got to pastel mat, I realized I didn't need to do that because it, you know, blow on it, just it doesn't come off. It's once it's on. I mean, you can smear it so you can get something and scrub it in, and you can wreck the painting. But I've dropped pastel matte paintings, and they've slid down and hit things, and yeah, there's a bit of pastel comes off, but they're actually really resilient. You just pick it up and fix whatever happened to it. It's going to be really bright. Yes, that will just a bit of extra brightness there to remind myself. One. Very bright. You can hear, well, maybe you can't, but I can hear quite clearly the pastel pencil scritching on top of the paper, pastel mat. So this is not a blendy paper. This is something you can put a lot of layers on, and you're going to do your art quite differently from like putting some on and smudging around, and that's not really what this is all about. So the next color that I'm going to be progressing once I've got this done is going to be that magenta. That I started on over here just to get a feel to go, is that going to work? And I'm doing this particular flower twice with the white. Yeah, bring that down. I wanted to know whether I should stick with the Canson for doing the flowers I've got a pad of pastel mat, so whether I should use that up. Right, which one feels nicer for doing flowers is pretty much what I'm trying to get to. And I'll put a poll up once I'm finished on the community page of YouTube, so you can tell me which flower you prefer, and hopefully why. That would be nice. It's done. Very. So the light sort of comes in. It hits this petal, this one, there. There's quite a bit of. Let's get that. Let's find the spots. Get them in early with light. That edge. Around here, we've got that. Caught that. 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 Then here. And certainly in here, so I can more courageous where the light is going to hit. And by putting more white underneath, to come back and sort of redo it. Here, this one's more in shadow. This one's more in shadow because it's curving in. It's more concave. And it's going to be predominantly a violet petal. This one's got the light hitting it. Fades to violet. That looks like we've done stage 1. So when I start streaming again tomorrow, because I'll crack on with this again tomorrow now that I've probably similar time. It was just so cold this morning. I just could not hold anything in my hands. Um, I will go around the flower with the magenta and what I call the hot pink, but it's just another magenta. So we'll do those, and then I start adjusting with the so this sort of this hot pink. You'll find it down in here. So, and it's going to sweep into under here. So that'll be fun. Crack on with that, but you can't do anything until you've got your underpainting or under drawing, whichever way you want to look at it, done. And I am done for now. So I'll be going 42 minutes. Yeah, that's long enough. So for those who've coming in on the replay, thanks for listening to me babble on. Let's just zoom out a bit. What it's looking like. And I'll carry on. One sec, I'll be right with you. And it's time for me to go to the library. So we'll leave it there. Cheers for now.